Anyone seen my Insecticon? Wonderful afternoon, guys. Brian here, and today I want to give you my impressions on the Mastermind Creations Reformatted Anarchus figure, which is their take on IDW Tarn, and I'm Kaon. I keep getting him confused. He is a member of the Decepticon Justice Division, which is a group of Decepticons who goes around and punishes other Decepticons for breaking the Decepticon code. AKA, they hurt the bad guys and are very, very happy to do so, which is why he turns into an electric chair. In his packaging, he comes with a very thick plastic collector's card with some stats and some cool pictures and stuff that I will not really ever use. Of course, he's also got his instruction booklet, which on the opposite side has a comic book and is kind of interesting looking. I really need to start reading these, I think. For the packaging itself, he comes in this kind of cool box. It's very simplistic. I like simplistic boxes. The back shows a number of his products and cross-sells. That is Mastermind Creations. Voss is the IDW character name. I do not remember what Mastermind Creation calls theirs. I picked up... I skipped that because that looks too big. Look at that. That is too big for him to really wield effectively. So I picked up Fake Busker's Face Off the Abstardent, which is a 3D printed figure and much smaller, and I'm quite pleased with it, even if I haven't gotten to paint it yet, because I am a lazy, lazy jerk. Other side is there, bam, picture of the figure, bottom is a warning, but it also has a visible panel with cool little artwork, and you would see the figure there. Instead, you're going to see me. Hi! There is the package. Zhang. For the figure itself, he has, like, some articulation in it. These arms are all articulated and actually come off, because these two guys can come off and form together to form a little spider Insecticon buddy, which, given recent IDW comic books, makes me go, aww, sort of, in a sad fashion. But these just plug on to the side, and so all these arms are a ball joint with a swivel joint, so you can actually get some pretty good range of motion and capturing of people in the chair. I think it actually works well. It's actually not part of the design of the character, but I think it works well. This bottom part of the chair moves around a lot. It's on a double hinge that you don't really get much motion out of it, or range of motion, I suppose I should say. But you get a little bit, and mostly I find it difficult to make it like stay up. It likes to fall down a lot when I'm putting figures in it, and which makes the figures want to slide off this chair, because it's not really a good chair. These panels can rotate downward, but not really too far upward. If you would want to ignore what I just said, it goes all the way up. I didn't think they end up any higher than this. Watch, it turns out they weren't supposed to, and I'm breaking it. This panel only goes up, so you can't get that even farther down. However, this piece is like one of the coolest parts on it, for chair mode anyway, because this plate allows you to basically put any figure you want and then adjust the base of it so that they are staying in. So, for instance, if I grab a handy-dandy Figuarts Vegeta and put him in it, I can adjust the chair length to hold him in that height. Whereas if I swap him out and grab a Spider-Man, put him in it, extend that out, and adjust the length of that chair. This little panel down at the bottom here makes it so you get a lot of versatility in it, I find. The best piece of articulation in chair mode, though, is without a doubt this thing. It does this. Wink. It's on a multi-hinge assembly, so you can get this thing to go wherever you want and plug into people's heads. Like, let's grab that Spider-Man again and plug it on top of his head, and you get lots of range of motion of this thing. And it's even at the very end, the cup is actually on a ball joint, so you can turn it around a bit, and lots and lots of motion you can get on this guy. So for chair mode, he is rather versatile and wonderful. And you like add in the arms to capture a spider, and it looks like Spider-Man's having a bad day. It really does. So chair mode gets a thumbs up for me. But there's the size comparison with Voss. Let's throw in some other size comparisons. This is Planet X's Vulcan, actually, not Grimlock. I'll pick you up so you can see his tail and the whole thing. I've got my standard yardstick of Chromia. Let's move the box a little bit further away. Chromia. I'm just gonna leave Voss in the background. Let him chillax there. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Combiner Wars Groove. Little tiny motorcycle in big ass chair. Ball is big ass chair. Another IDW vet, Minimus Ambus, and his Ultra Magnus armor. Very, very big chair, if that's a chuck. Continuing with IDW, we've got Trash Talk and Rear End. Well, Rear End and Trash Talk. IDW Swerve and Tailgate. Looks about right, or seems about right to me, given how size these guys are. How small these guys are, I should say. For another random Voyager, there's Combiner Wars Onslaught. He is, like, he's a small Voyager, I'd say. And for one last size comparison with Combiner Wars figure, there is Prowl. The paint apps on chair mode are wonderful. I would have liked like one last swipe of this gold on this back piece here, but that's just kind of nitpicking. Everywhere else, the paint apps are pretty cool. Like, I love the paint apps on the inside of the foot pedals, inside of the chair. Like, I suppose the cup could have used a little bit of paint, but this is a well-painted chair. And it's a chair. What else? It got more paint than it probably deserved, I think. But I am not complaining. I like it. One thing I did definitely want to mention, that for chair mode, you plug his feet into these ports right here. Yeah, right here. And I have had issue getting them off of this, and because that's like scarily tight. So much so that I don't even plug this one in anymore, because this post has a stress mark on it now. I don't want to break this peg off. So I don't even plug this foot in and into this anymore. But this this port right here would go into that port right there. No, post, port, post, post, port, 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 post. It would do this. You do that, and then you push it in to lock it in. And getting it out is hard, so I don't do it because I'm scared of breaking it. Now, this guy actually has 3 modes. In the comics, he only turns into a chair or the robot mode, but in the figure that Mastermind Creations has put out, he has his own 3rd mode. So, what do you say we get to that mode and talk about that, shall we? Let's. He's got tread so he can move, right? He's got tread so he can move. Once again reminding me how annoyingly difficult the lightning effects are to work with. He looks amazing when you can finally get them to rest somewhere nicely. So I says to Mabel, I says, and here he is in his Scorpion mode, sharing a drink with his best buddy in the world, Swerve. Actually, I just felt like having a giant scorpion holding a tiny glass of liquid. It was amusing to me. Alright, so this Scorpion mode. Not the best Scorpion mode, but acceptable, I suppose. Like, these legs are completely superfluous. They don't really support his weight or even really touch the ground. They do kind of have to touch the ground, because if they don't, if I'll just raise them up a bit like this, he will do that. And then look like that. So, you do kind of need them to, like, push his butt up in the air. Giggity. But other than that, I guess I believe it as a Scorpion mode. I don't know how often I'm ever going to put him in this mode, but yeah, I do kind of really love the tail. I mean, like, using the gun as the stinger and just all the joints in this chair part, like, okay, that's clever. That's clever. I'll give him that. For his articulation in this mode, his tail is hinged at what was the chair. So you got a double hinge right here, a double hinge. So you can go like that with it, and then you can move it on this hinge, so you can get like, well, a double hinge on it. Full flipping of it. This hinge doesn't go. Okay, proves me wrong. I thought it stopped about there, but you know, I'm completely wrong. Can go back that far. And then this hinge assembly, you've got a joint here, a joint here, and a joint here. So it can go back that far on that one, all the way forward. On the middle one, it can go all the way like that, all the way back. And then the last one can go that much farther, or that far. It can go that far forward on this last hinge, and basically until it hits itself on the backwards. So this tail has a lot of motion you can have with it. And the gun just plugs in via this port into the hole on the back of this thing. So right there. That is really descriptive language, Brian. You are wonderful at doing this. His eye is actually the brain cap for the chair mode, and that's actually rather ingenious. And since it's on a ball joint, it can move around and look around. And if you want, you can pop it up a bit and like pull it out and have it be like this and give it a whole lot more range of motion and curiosity. But it doesn't really look as much like a Scorpion at that point. So you just fold it back down under there. Right there. Okay. Now, the arms are actually the robot mode legs. So you've got access to the thigh swivel for rotation here. You've got this weird joint that's part of the legs, so you can go out a bit with that. Then you've got what would be the robot mode knees as the elbow joints, so thus in tandem you can get out pretty far. On the claws, it's the robot mode feet, so you've got the ankle tilt, and kind of by unclipping something for the transformation, you can get it to go up, like, hi, how you doing? I'm Kaon, or Arachnus. No, Anarchus. I keep calling him Arachnus, because he turns into an arachnid. Yes, scorpions are arachnids. But his heel spur forms one of the claws, the thumb of the claw, and then the toe forms the fingers of the claw. And there's this jointed assembly here that allows you to go basically all the way fully closed or open. So a lot of good motion on these claws. For something that shouldn't work, it does work surprisingly well. His robot mode arms are just kind of sitting there and blatantly obvious, and I kind of don't like them. Yeah, they're just there. Like, no matter how much I try, I don't stop seeing them, just hanging out underneath them. And the pylons as, like, pincers don't really work for me, because you can't get them any further in. If you could, then maybe it would work for me, but no. Alright, let's get some size comparisons out of the way. For starters, let's go with Ultra Magnus. And I'm going to pick you guys up since Kaon is very short and Ultra Magnus is very tall. So, actually, they seem to be a decent size together. It's just comparatively, like, the angle with which they're laid down is unique. Continuing with the large guys, there is Onslaught. You know what? Why don't I just throw Onslaught and Grimlock? Well, actually, specifically, Combiner Wars Onslaught with Planet X Vulcan, aka Fall Cybertron Grimlock, and I'm picking you guys up again. And similar to Ultra Magnus, these guys seem to be actually about a decent size together. It's just the low profile of Anarchus, makes him rather unique, actually, I think. But I'm perfectly okay with this size difference for these guys. Alright, big figure size comparisons are over. Let's throw in Prowl and my yardstick of Chromia. So yeah, Anarchus looks like a huge scorpion compared to the Luxes, and that's actually perfectly okay with me. He is a pretty cool little scorpion. Getting into some smaller guys, here is Fake Busker's Face Off the Abstargent, I believe is the name of this figure. This is a 3D printed figure from Shapeways that Fake Busker 83 made. His Shapeway store is Ariel Lemon or something like that. Yeah, Ariel Lemon. And he made him, and he turns into a gun, and looks better to me than Mastermind Creations Voss does. So that's why I have that as my Voss. This guy is Make Toys Trash Talk, and is wonderful, spectacular, and perfect. And there's that. So yeah, like this guy could just like ride around on him and be like, "Hey, cool!" I would totally buy that. And no, Voss would not fit into the port up here because the gun. This is not a 5mm port. The 5mm post. This is not a 5mm post. This is the 5mm post. So this is what people would hold on to fire this gun. The other one, the smaller post, is much smaller. Actually, I wonder if it's 3mm because live testing, it is not 3mm because that's what Swerve is. I think Swerve is 3mm. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that's 3mm? I know somebody else has this figure, and I used to remember, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So no, Voss can't go up there because he has no whatever size post this is. That would be awesome, though. One other IDW comparison I want to make is with Mastermind Creations' rear end, who, as I was trying to set up a potential thumbnail and cool screen capture of Kaon, yeah, this is Kaon, for this video, I went to go pull off his leg and replace it with the broken one, which you're supposed to be able to do, and you might notice that I've pulled the ball joint off the waist. So, FYI, guys, I don't recommend putting the leg up like this and then pulling down. That's how I broke it. Apparently that's a bad way to do it, because I broke it. And now Tailgate is permanently crying. Although, props to the people over at Big Bad Toy Store where I bought this guy. I shot them an email immediately after this happened and said, "Hey, I bought this guy 6 months ago. Is there anything you can do?" And they said, "They'll cover the cost of shipping and we'll send you a new waist." And I said, "Done! Awesome! Good job!" So I've got a new waist on the way. But here's what he would look like if I can get him to stand on one leg, which I'm not going to expect I can. Holy crap, I did it. Hey, there he is. There's how tall he would be next to Kaon in Scorpion mode. I can't believe I got him to stand on one leg. Well, I suppose I can, but, you know, yay, go me. Now, that's basically all there is to say about Scorpion mode, so let's hurry up and get over to Robot mode and talk about that. Scorpion. Yeah, these lightning effects really kind of are made for Anarchus / Kaon here. Finally, here is Anarchus in Robot mode. And this is a very, very faithful recreation of his Robot mode from the More Than Meets the Eye comic book. His guns only stores on his top in the same place where he did on Scorpion mode. As far as I can tell, I have not been able to really find any other spots that I can plug it, so that's really the only place for it. And as long as I'm talking about the gun, so in vehicle mode, in chair mode, the gun has the small little port there, and that plugs into his crotch. And then his arms... Really, Brian? Really? You're going to do this joke? Anyway, his arms then plug into these little notches on the side of the gun here. I let somebody mess around with this guy, and they tried twisting this gun out. And as you might imagine, twisting a square peg that doesn't twist when it's in a square groove, notch, port, causes the peg to snap off. So don't twist this gun out. Just pull it out straight. Just pull it out with the greatest of ease. There you go. Do not twist. So a huge thanks to Big Bad Toy Store for sending me a replacement gun that has the notch on it, thus allowing me to actually transform him into a solid chair mode, because otherwise, with just this one, the broken one, I wouldn't be able to... I'd peg his arms together, but then it wouldn't plug into his crotch, and this kind of forms the, like a tripod back stabilizer heel spur thing for the chair. So just be wary of that. Don't twist. Just pull. His arms, they can fold up and peg onto the little groove in his arm and act supposedly as a shield. I don't really buy this as a shield, so I tend to just like set this aside. Actually, what I tend to do, and I believe I sold this from Vangelis. If you don't know who that is, I'm surprised, but he's another YouTube video reviewer who does much better videos than mine, so you should stop watching mine right as soon as this video ends and go watch his. But he postulated the mode of using these front two limbs as like hands for this guy, which I kind of really actually like. That gives him a little bit of hands and still makes him kind of creepy and it's kind of cute and adorable and aww. So I usually do something like that, set him aside and have these guys be like best of buddies with his pet. Let's start with some big guys. There's Ultra Magnus from Combiner Wars. Alright, so you guys are getting a slightly skewed view of this, so I'm going to pick you up. There's a more like realistic representation of the height difference. That's about 2 heads, right? For another big size comparison, let's throw in Combiner Wars, Onslaught, and Planet X Vulcan. These 3 guys are big guns. Big guns. Now looking at it, I'm actually surprised at the Kaon being full-on Voyager size. I didn't really think of him as Voyager size. I thought of him as basically a large deluxe. But no, he's like same height as Onslaught. Alright, we've got also Combiner Wars Prowl, who is a rather ubiquitous mold for Combiner Wars, and my yardstick of Chromia. So Kaon towers over them, actually, and that's kind of really scary, actually. I'd be scared if I was these guys and saw Kaon running around. We've got Combiner Wars Groove, Make Toys Trash Talk, aka IDW Swerve, and Minimus Ambus will sit right there between his legs because that's a nice little family portrait. Aww, that's so terrifying. This, like, Swerve and Kaon, that's another scary one. And the only other member of the Decepticon Justice Division that I have is Voss, aka Face Off the Abstargent, a Shapeways figure made by Fake Busker 83 or Ariel Lemon, depending on where he is. That's how tall these two would be together, and I'm okay with this. Alright, so cut to a couple minutes later, and I have Voss back in his gun mode, and that's why I bought him. That looks badass. That's good. I like these guys. These guys are good together, and he can hold, Kaon can hold Voss very, very securely, and just, if he were painted, Voss would look wonderful in his hand. A bit big and a little ludicrous, yes, but he's another Transformer. He's a Target Master, essentially. This is why I bought Voss in this size, rather than Mastermind Creations Voss, because these guys just look good together. Now, down the road, when I get some of the other DJD, if it turns out this guy might be too small for those guys, maybe I might reconsider it. But generally, I like Deluxes being able to hold Voss. But articulation, let's get down to that. His head is on a ball joint and can move around very well. I'm not a huge fan of this face sculpt. It looks like the eyes are just black. I can't see anything for his eyes. His face, his mouth doesn't look like anything. He looks kind of confused, actually. It's like, huh? Something going on? What's going on, guys? Anyone seen my Insecticon? His arms can do a full 360. His Tesla coil pylon thingies are on a swivel on their own, so they can rotate around to get out of the way. His arms can go out a very good distance. Go back down. That's kind of a problem where they'll follow that. He's got a bicep swivel at just above the elbow. His elbow is pretty good. Gives you, what's that, 90 degrees? Yeah, solid 90 degrees. But he's also got this joint here for transformation, which basically acts as a double joint. And As long as you use it carefully, it does not look bad. If you use it improperly, it looks bad. For his waist, it's a ball joint, but it's cut so it can also be an ab crunch too. So he can spin around at the waist a bit, not full 360, just this much. But I'm willing to sacrifice a full 360 waist swivel for a bit of an ab crunch. And given how much this looks like it should be an ab crunch, I'm glorious for it. I'm not, no, he's glorious for it. I'm not glorious. Well, I am glorious, but... oh, overconfidence. His skirts can get out of the way for his legs, which can go forward that much. Backwards, well, farther than this, but the backpack hinders it. So if you move the backpack out of the way, you can get it to go farther. He's got a thigh swivel where, just below the knee, actually. His knee does that, and if you really want, it does that, but that's kind of like painful looking. He's got a thigh swivel, I mentioned that. His feet have a lot of joints to them, so they're on a hinge here, so they can swivel. What is this? Heel spur. That's the word I was looking for. His heel spur is on a joint and can move around. His other feet, the front of his toes, are on this multi-joint assembly, and actually for like a while I forgot to, or didn't realize I was supposed to collapse the foot farther than this. So this is how I had his feet for a while. I was like, that looks really weird. Then I realized, oh, hey, I can do this. Because who looks at instructions, right? I mean, that's part of the fun of a Transformer, is figuring it out. His actual toes rotate, swivel around. That is basically... oh wait, his wrists are on a ball joint and can swivel and rotate a bit, even inward and outward, so yay. That is basically it for his articulation. His backpack kind of gets out of the way, but doesn't really compress much farther than that. And for having a chair on his back, that's not a horrible, horrendous backpack. That's kind of a manageable backpack. On the transformation itself, tank treads kind of are a little tricky, but kind of are a little ingenious. When I get used to them, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. But basically, you have to pay attention to which side and which cuts you are looking at. Like this side on this piece has a little notch here, whereas on this side, it doesn't. So you have to rotate it a very specific way. And that takes a little getting used to. I don't like how his hands are visible in chair mode and scorpion mode. And I wish his chair locked together a little bit more solidly, or joints were tighter. But for a dude who turns into a chair and a scorpion, I'm rather okay with the transformation. So I guess this is kind of leading into my final thoughts on Mastermind Creations Anarchus. Overall, this figure is pretty cool. I like the way he looks. He looks unique. Just a couple of small nitpicks on him, but I am digging their Decepticon Justice Division stuff. I am eagerly looking forward to their Tarn and anything else they put out for these Justice Division guys. Alright, so that's basically everything I can think of to say about this guy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank those of you who have subscribed to us and watch our videos and pass the word on. You guys are the absolute wonderfulest audience ever, and we love you for doing that for us. And you guys are the reason we keep doing these videos, so thank you so much. I am also curious to know what you guys think about this guy. How does he look to you? How did you feel about recent events involving this character? If you can, try to be vague. Well, why don't we just say, what do you feel about the comic books? And talk about that, rather than potential spoils for something. Not that there's any spoilers involving this character. Not that there's any spoilers involving this character. Until next time, guys, may all of your Jacob's ladders be made of electricity? No. Wow, that was stupid. Wow. Bye, guys.